Hi, I'm Rebecca and welcome to the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hello and welcome. My name is Rebecca. I'm a knitter based in Edinburgh and this is a vlog or a podcast all about my knitting. What I'm currently knitting on, what I've been knitting on and what I'd like to cast on in the not too distant future. And I have a jam-packed episode today. I got so much to talk about. I do have a finished object. I didn't think I would, but I do. I just have like endless works in progress. Everything has had a little bit of work recently, so a lot of works in progress. Two new things to cast on, so I've got the yarn with me to show you. And I have a tester call and an exciting other call, kind of. Basically loads to talk about. So yeah, I am really excited to get into it. I feel like I've just been like bubbling over with knitting energy over the past few weeks and it has been very much like today a horrible grey summer here in Scotland. It's just like you look outside and you would not think it's August. It's just the skies are grey, everything is grey. There's just like sideways rain all the time. And so it feels like sweater weather. It's not really, it's still relatively warm outside, but I'm telling myself it's sweater weather. So I've been doing lots of knitting and reading. So let's get started with what I'm wearing. I have like pulled this out of the vault. I usually wear like my most recently finished object on the podcast. But I have something finished, but it's not blocked and like I don't want to wear it unblocked. So I was like, oh, this is fun. Like I'll pick out something else. And I pulled out my second Dorney sample from last year. I'm obsessed. Full transparency, think this was probably too small for me when I made it. I think I sized up, but my gauge must have been off. I have a terrible habit of making my second samples and not gauge swatching and just using the same samples as the first needle and then realising it's massively off gauge because I've used a different yarn, which is not a massive surprise that it's off gauge, but should be a surprise that I do that because I do design patterns and I should be over that by now, but alas. So I think I went up and it just didn't have like the fit that I wanted, but I've lost some weight. Just as a aside, I've lost some weight and part of having lost some weight means that this is now like fitting me the way I wanted it to and it is just glorious. It is the like cream coloured cable knit sweater of my absolute dreams and I'm obsessed. I love it. I'm so happy. This is my pattern. It's called the Dorney. It came out like January maybe and I've got two samples. I've got another one in brown and that one has got mohair and this one does not. It is knit up in West Yorkshire Spinners Jacob fleece, which means I think this whole sweater cost like £36 in yarn. I got it from my local yarn shop, Ginger Twist, and I'm obsessed. My Dorney is one of my warmer sweaters. It's like a worsted weight, or you know, it's even worsted, it's like Aran weight. And it's cable, so like it's quite dense and quite thick, but it's perfect for today, I think. And I'm so excited to be able to wear this. And like I had it around, but I didn't really wear it very often because I just felt it was a bit too tight and I just felt a bit like I was in a sausage casing. So I'm really happy that I feel like it still fits nice over the shoulders and stuff. Like I love the big chunky collar, but it fits the way I had in mind. So all that to say, have a look through your wardrobe, see what's in there. Maybe you'll be surprised. So that is what I'm wearing is my Dorney. What I have to show you. Okay, let me start with my first finished object. I did not think this would be finished, and were it not for the fact that I stayed up until 2 AM finishing a book last night, this would not be finished. The book, by the way, is called Out on a Limb by, I think her name is like Hannah Bonham something. It was amazing. It's like a fun little romance, great, really, really good. So if anyone is a reader and enjoys like fun, quirky, a little bit spicy romance, like the sprinkle of spice, there's a lot of like cute little heavy on the tropes. I read a lot of that. But if anyone is looking for that, Out on a Limb, it was amazing. Okay, so yeah, I finished the entire second. I was maybe like 2/3 through the sleeve and then I stayed until 2 AM, finished the first sleeve, realised before I went to bed that my first sleeve was too short, so I undid the ribbing, reknit that sleeve, and then this morning with my like morning coffee all I had to do was finish off my cuffs. So this is my Alder sweater. Da, 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 da. Oh my goodness, look at it. It looks so good. Okay, so this is a pattern. This is an all over stitch pattern, Raglan. The Raglan is maybe my favourite part. I just think it's so slick. Like, it kind of fades into the pattern, but also you can see it. Can you see it? That line down there? So yeah, this is the Alder. This is in Sonder yarn Sunday Morning DK, which I've heard amazing things about, and I understand why. I think it's incredible. I know it's a base that's more widely available, so like Sonder is in the US, in Canada, and I think they only ship to the US and Canada, so it can be kind of tricky. But I know like my LYS Ginger Twist dye on this base too, so it's a 75% BFL, 25% Masham. If you see that anywhere, run for it. Get it from Sonder because their colours are incredible, but if you don't get it from Sonder, look for it elsewhere, because this has just got this like, it was amazing. You know when you're knitting on something and you're like, this just feels good? That was how this was. And the end piece has got this like drape to it that I just adore. I've seam blocked it a little bit. I will be blocking it on the blocking mats after this. I wanted to not block it until I'd shown it. And so I am obsessed, like truly obsessed. It's kind of got this like, I feel like it's kind of got like an 80s fit. Like it's quite a wide sleeve, but it tapers. So it's quite like it feels to me like quite an 80s fit sweater, which I kind of love. I'm so excited to wear this with like high-waisted jeans, like wide leg jeans. I use two colours, so, well, there are two colours in the pattern. My colours, don't know how much I want at Yarn Chicken. This is what I have left in total of my main colour. I really did not think I was going to get this far, so it was a stressful little moment. This is Simple Pleasures, and then this is my second colour. This is called Copper Kettle, yeah. And this was what's left of my third skein, and this is what's left of my second skein. So it uses like just under 5 skeins. I will say the yardage, like it will be more than 3 skeins in the pattern because I am not putting knitters through this, and if they were swatching things, like there's always a buffer. But between you and I, if you're knitting the size 3, you can get it out of 3 skeins. So yeah. It's a Raglan. It's a similar construction to the Dorney and to the Cargill. I really like constructing patterned Raglans that way. You start flat and then you work this like crescent. Sorry, I'm straightening my hair and I keep touching it. You work a little section flat to like build up this section, and then you join in the round, and then you work in the round from there. It's not it's not a very complicated pattern. It was an absolute nightmare to write up because I could just knit it and it just works in my brain, like it just clicked and I just kept going. Trying to translate the doing into words was really tricky, so I'm interested to see how it goes with the testers. Again, both my Cargill has got video support, and what I think I'm going to do is hold off on casting on my second sample until the testers get going, and then see if there's anything that needs video support and then make some videos to go with my second sample, because it's just that thing where like the knitting is so simple. The pattern is very straightforward. You don't need to look at, like, I think there's not even a chart. I think there's like one chart for the stitch pattern, but like it's not highly charted. And once you know what you're doing, you just keep going, but getting going. I think if you don't know where you're going, it's gonna be tricky. So I'm interested to see how it goes down with the knitters. I love this version. It is so like sweater weather, perfect colours. However, it's pretty low contrast. I don't know where my swatches are. No idea where I put them. I put a picture of my other swatches. I did one in grey and like a grey and beige, and I did one in brown and beige, and I think the brown and beige is beautiful. I would like, my second sample is going to be higher contrast. I feel like because these are the same kind of colour story, it almost like, it's subtle and it's relatively low contrast, but I really want the second one to be higher contrast. So I think I'm going to get some more in the colour, I want to call it Wildwood. It's like a green grey. But Melissa from Sonder has been on holiday in Europe. I think she's only back maybe like Thursday, so I'm gonna drop her an email then. But if anyone has suggestions, the other colour I already have is Cloud 9, which is the white colour, like the undyed. What colour should I pair with that one for my second sample? I have like a tab open for Sonder DK, and it's just constantly open on my laptop, and it has been for like 6 weeks. So yeah, this is the Alder. It's got about 7 centimetres of ease when I wear it, so it probably fits actually pretty similar to this. I mean, it'll fit almost identically to this. I think the arms are a bit looser. This has got like relatively fitted arms. The arms on the Alder are looser. I probably don't have a picture of it on because it'll be blocking when I finish this, so I won't have that to show. But the exciting news is there's a tester call live. It's live until, sorry, I've got itchy nose. It's live until tomorrow evening, so Wednesday, today's Wednesday? Yeah, so Thursday the 3rd of August. It closes, so if you're early watching this, you'll be able to sign up. There are 10 sizes. It goes up to a 67-inch bust. I think the smallest size is 80 centimetres. I don't know what that is, 28-inch maybe bust with like 2 to 5 centimetres of ease, so pretty inclusive around here. And I'm excited. I actually read something interesting recently. I was lurking on Reddit, which I shouldn't do, but I did it anyway. And someone was talking about inclusivity of size, like size inclusivity in knitting patterns. And one thing they said is like, I'm all for designers talking about like having a range of sizes, but if they only ever test knit with the same group of people, you're not getting like an inclusive set of feedback, if that makes sense. So there are some people who have tested almost all of my patterns and they're incredible and I love them for that, but they also are like adjusted to my way of writing and they know how I write patterns maybe. So I'm going to make sure I've got some newbies. I mean, I always have a couple of brand new people, but I want to just be conscious about that in this one. And I also ask in the forum this time for your level of knitting, so like beginner, intermediate and advanced. I've never done that before, but I'd like to make sure there's at least 1 or 2 people who call themselves a beginner because I'm curious. I'd say this is like an intermediate sweater. It's not, if you know how a raglan construction is done and like you're comfortable with it like increasing in pattern, you'll be completely fine. But I want to make sure that like I catch everything. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, that's my thoughts, my outline thoughts on this. But if you'd like to test, the application is there, and then I always email everyone to tell them if they're successful or not successful in the test knit. It's an 8.5-week test, so we'll see how we get on. I would rather a little bit longer, to be honest. Like ideal state, I probably would have had like 9.5 weeks, but I just had a bit of a nightmare writing this up, so we're about on the short side. If you're seeing that and you're thinking, I want to knit one of the larger sizes, but I might not get it finished in time, drop me a message because we can work around that. Like it could maybe just be like just one sleeve or just a yoke or yoke and a sleeve or whatever. I'd like to make sure everyone who considers applying can do. So one last look before, I'm so excited to get this on the bulking mats. I'm so excited to see what this fabric does. And I think because it's all over texture, I think it's going to change a fair bit with blocking. Like I think it's really going to relax and I just can't wait to see it. And then to wear it everywhere. So next time I'll be wearing this, I'm sure. So that is my Alder sweater. Last time I shared that the name was inspired by a picture taken at the top of Ben Alder. And then I forgot to put the picture in. So Rebecca, do it now. Editing Rebecca, put the picture in. I think I remembered every other picture, but I forgot that one. It's the one on my phone cover actually, which is not very helpful, but this is the picture. And then this here, this like rocky bit at the bottom is the texture it reminds me of. So I'll put a version here and hopefully remember this time to show you. So yeah, that is my Alder. Oh, I'm so excited it's done. I'm just pleased. I had such fun knitting it, but I have quite a lot of deadlines at the minute and I'm just like, it feels like a thing off my to-do list. And I'll chuck it over there because I'm gonna go block after. Okay, what is next? Okay, I'm gonna give you a sneak peek of, I showed a sneak peek last time. I just feel weird having this whole knitting project that I'm not showing anything about because it's for a magazine. I just thought I actually need to undo the sleeve. It's not come in quite as much as I wanted it to, but I thought I would just sneak peek the sleeve a little bit. So this is a pattern for Lina issue like 19 or 20, so it's coming out March next year. You have to be so ahead of I submitted this in March of this year, and then I found out I was successful in May, and then I didn't get it, and then the pattern is due in August, the test knit, and the finalised pattern is due in October. And then the pattern is published in March. It's such a long timeline and it's not stressful, but I see, like, there's another designer who is designing something in the vein of like different fabric, different, like kind of different stitch pattern, but like a similar concept. And then my heart was in my throat. I was like, oh no. And of course, there's nothing you can do about it. And that's just how knitting works, and how, I guess, a lot of different, like, it's the same in a lot of different places, right? Like, I think all art is derivatory. But I like showing things as soon as they're in my brain, and this feels weird not showing it. So I'm knitting it using these 2 yarns, which are both sent to me for the pattern. They're both Biches Le Gros lamb's wool, and this one's like the dark red, and this one's called Hay, and I absolutely love working with them. I'm going to make myself one of these. The sample I'm knitting right now is not to my size, it's to a bigger size. I will knit myself one at some point, and I'm considering using the same yarn they sent me, and it's relatively pricey yarn, but I've really enjoyed working with it. So I've finished a sleeve. I've got one more sleeve to go, and then I need to go back and to finish this one because it just ended up being a little bit more flared than I want. So we're going to go back, take out the cuff, do some more decreases, and then get going with sleeve number 2. And then get this sent off. It has to be sent off has to arrive with them on the 14th of August. So not too far until that happens. And then there's a test call coming. So it's a secret test call, meaning I can't tell you like, I mean, once you start the test call, I can obviously send pictures and see like, this is what this pattern is. But it will kind of be like signing up blind. I think I'll have that test call in the next episode. So if you love this one and you're like, I don't know what that is, but I want to know, it will come next time. I'm having this one, the Alder, and this one I've worked with a grader for. The grader that I've worked on with for everything, she's amazing, and I don't love grading. So, oh, I need to delete a video. My card is full. Yeah, I had the past like 15 episodes still on this card, so no surprise it was full. Yeah, I've worked with the same grader recently. She does my tech editing and my grading. She's incredible, and I just don't love grading. Like, sometimes I'll do it every couple of patterns just to remind myself I can. But it's not my favourite part of the process, and I told myself that I need to make sure that I enjoy it. Like, to be sustainable, I have to like it. And like, I have a full-time job that, you know, I have to do the boring bits all because I get paid for that by someone else, but this part is my own business, so I can pay someone else to do the parts I don't want to do. But she's just about to finish the Alder, and that has been a headache because I struggled to get down the words of what I was doing. And she's going to get this one next, and I'm going to tell her, hey, it's an all over colourwork pattern, but also the charts can't be too big because they have to go into a printed magazine, so we can't chart every size. So if you're watching, Rebecca, her name is also Rebecca, I'm sorry. Cool, okay, so let me get on to my next work in progress. I still have this, I have 4 more, so like this plus 3 more, yeah. But this is an exciting one too. God, I'm just full of announcements today, so many announcements. Here's another announcement. My Lanark sweater pattern has re-released. If you have been around for a while, in March I released the Lanark. It is a quarter zip sweater with an all over half fisherman's rib stitch pattern. I'll put a picture in of it. And it's got a zip, it's drop shoulder, and it's like, it's designed a lot, all my patterns are pretty much unisex because I don't do shaping in any of them. But this one, like, I had a lot of male testers and I had my brother help me model it and things, so it is a truly unisex pattern. And it is not it's the most challenging pattern I have published in terms of construction. It's just something I think a lot of people haven't done before, and so and there's literally just like 3 rows in the entire pattern which are tricky. But if you don't know, if you're like a visual learner, or like you can't imagine how the end piece has got to look, I can understand why that's challenging. So it's probably the pattern that when I launched it I got the most questions about, and that is both like, that's not a great experience for the knitter, that's also a lot of my admin time. So I took the pattern offline and then I sent it back to my tech editor. She's gone through the whole thing and reworked some of the instructions, and then I made a video series of those challenging parts, and then I re-released it on Friday. So it is now back on Ravelry, and I was working up a sample to make the tutorials with, and so I made some progress with my sample. This is where it's at. Oh, it looks so good. I really love how good this camera is at capturing this blue. It is like a royal blue, and I think when it's dark it can look navy, but it's not really navy. It's a lot brighter than that, or like maybe it is navy but like a nice navy, I don't know. So it's gonna have stripes. It took a little working out to work out which row to start the stripes on, but I am pretty, it's a half fisherman's rib, which is a 2-row repeat, so you knit one, like kind of like brioche, you either knit one below or you can slip with yarn over. There are 2 methods of knitting it, and I had to work out which of the 2 rows to do the stripe on, and I'm pretty pleased with that. I think it looks pretty clean. And now we're joining the round, and I also did the facing, so like there's a little facing that goes on the inside. It's not sewn down, but if I flip it inside out, you knit this little facing, so this little like, oh it's so wonky, you knit this little like V, and then you sew it down, and then that little pocket becomes the zip pocket, like that's where you put the zip to sew it in. So I've done the facing too, so honestly all the tricky parts of this are done because I made a video of them, which means that from here on out it's just knitting the round. And yeah, I've got, like I said, a lot on right now in my needles, but I'm thinking this is perfect meetings knitting. Oh, my needles that I'm using for this are currently on another project. So I think once that project is done, I've only got like a little bit left, I'll show that one next. Once that one's done, I think I will get the needles back on here and just try to like chug along with the process. I have an inspiration picture from like Cosy or something where I looked at the stripe pattern, and I'm gonna have 5 white stripes. I might be short on yarn is my only issue. I think it took like 17 grams for a single stripe, and I think this is 114 grams. So I'll have enough for the body, I might not have enough for the sleeves. We have options. It's Briggs and Little, a Canadian brand, so I could somehow work out to get some for Rhinebeck. I could order some to, I'll be in the States for Rhinebeck, so I could order some to Mega from Skeins of Dreams, ask her if I could order a skein to her house and she could bring it with us, or I could ask someone else. Or I could alternatively only stripe the body and not stripe the sleeves. Which honestly might be easier, but I don't know if it's the look I'm going for. If I think it in my head, I think it looks fine, and that way I would end up with like a better yarn situation because I don't want to have loads of leftovers. So yeah, so this is the main colour. It's Briggs and Little Regal. This is the contrast colour, and it's lovely. It's a tricky yarn to work with, I will say. Like, it's bouncy but also quite rough, so it doesn't like slide in the way that I like. I can only say these things to knitters, because if I was to turn with my partner and I was like, yeah, I just don't love this because it doesn't slide in the same way, he'd look at me like I was losing the plot, which honestly at this point maybe I have. But yeah, so that's pretty good. I just need to chug away with it, to be honest, and I've gone down a size in this one. Like I said, I have lost some weight, and the previous one, my previous samples were 120 centimetres, which gave me at the time around about 10 centimetres of ease. I've gone down a little bit in this yarn to the 110 centimetre size, and we'll see how we get on. It's also super stretchy, so like if I struggled, I could probably block a little bit extra width into it by just stretching the ribbing a little bit. I shouldn't do, but it's my knitting, so I'll do it if I want to. And we'll see how it fits. And I think this, oh, I honestly have like, this is where I wish I like lived somewhere in like a beach town in New England, or like on Cape Cod, and I had like cut off jeans with Birks, and then like this over it, and like a tan. I wish I could show you the weather outside right now because it's just like torrential sideways rain, and I'm like, imagine this. But yeah, imagine this. I'll still wear it with jeans and cut-offs and probably not open shoes because it rains all the time, but yeah, I think it's gonna be really nice. It feels to me like a very springtime garment, so I'm not really rushing through this. I did my obligation, like my deadline part is done, which is getting the videos done. And so from here on out, I'm just gonna tickle along and hopefully make some progress. And like, yeah, I'd like to have it for spring, but like that's 6 months away, so we'll just see how I get on. I've accepted the idea of long-term projects. I kind of have to, because it takes me, I've got so many things on my needles, nothing gets done quickly. Okay, I said I would show you this one next, but actually let's just segue. Talking of long-term projects, I have two pretty plain stockinette sweaters that I cast on, like, I thought I cast them on last like 2022. This might not be as long ago as that, but I have one that was from October 2022 that's still on my needles and just needs some sleeves. But we're not talking about that one today. The thing is, the top of the sleeves have shaping, and I know that's not going to be hard, and I know it's going to take me like 30 minutes of just sitting down and doing the shaping, and then I'm just cruising. Can I bring myself to do that 20 minutes of shaping? No, I can't. But fortunately for me, the other one on my needles is just a Raglan sweater, and it is, again, almost done. I've had, between the Alder, my liner submission, and this, I had 3.5 sleeves to knit this week. And I would like to tell you that I'm down to 1.5 by Wednesday, so. Oh, it's so crumpled. I always do this and then I get annoyed at myself for not fixing them. This looks like a heaping hunk of trash. This is a Cosy Classic Raglan by Jessie May of Jessie May Designs. It is a super simple top-down Raglan sweater in fingering weight yarn, and mine is in this grey, and I think this is going to be, like, I can just tell I will wear this to death. Like, I already know what's going to happen, and that's one of the reasons I want to get it finished. And also, this weather in Scotland is grim, but I also just kept thinking about how perfect like a fingering weight sweater will be in the next couple of months, and I thought this is the one to prioritise. If you're going to get one of those two sweaters off your needles, get this one. So it looks amazing. It's got this beautiful raglan detail. I looked at the pattern pictures and I decided that some of this necks were too wide for my taste, and I wanted a more fitted neckline. So I cast on fewer stitches, did more ribbing, and then in the round immediately after the neckline ribbing, I increased out to the number the pattern told me to. So for example, if the pattern says 108 stitches cast on, I cast on 100, did my ribbing, and then the one round after the ribbing was finished, before I hit our raglan markers, or as I hit our raglan markers, I added the 8 extra stitches evenly across the 100 so that I got to the number the pattern told me to get to. I will tell you that after that, I do this a lot with raglans, I just knit till it fits. In the past it has burned me a little bit because I've ended up with it being not quite as roomy as I wanted it to be. I think the benefit again to this one is I split for the sleeves and I've lost some weight now, so I think it's probably going to be like a bit more oversized, but in like a nice way. Like, it would be a very fitted sweater before and it's now like a medium fitted sweater. So I finished one sleeve. It kind of feels like a school jumper, but I'm not mad about that. And on my second sleeve, and I've just got like little stitch markers, and I'm at that fun stage where like I do a decrease and then I take the stitch marker off of sleeve 1, put it on sleeve 2. The sleeve is too short, so I will knit this one a little bit longer and then go back and lengthen this one. My goal is that this is going to be like my Alder will be on the blocking mats. When that comes off the blocking mats, I will not put my mats away because this will be done. We'll see. This is the yarn which I talk about all the time. Like, whenever I get a chance to, I will talk about this. It is Kinross 4-ply. It is from it's a Scottish base and it's incredible. I adore it. Every time I go to a festival and they have this, which is, they do the 2 big festivals that I've gone to in Scotland, and I like drag whoever's with me to their stand and like make them stroke the samples because they go so fluffy when they're done. And super soft. So I think this is going to be like my budget version of a cashmere sweater. It is, I think, maybe £8 for 50 grams, so it's not like budget but it's pretty budget, and we'll see where we get to. I'm not sure if this is, I just wound up, I literally finished in a whole ball on that first sleeve. I don't know if this is ball 5 or ball 6, so that'll be interesting. If I can get this sweater out of 5 balls of yarn, I'll be in a pretty happy place. Because honestly, I think I just want one in every colour that they have. I knit with a cream version before called Porridge, and I found it didn't soften up as much as I wanted to, and I got some tips to wash it in dish soap, because apparently the dish soap, and this is for any oily, or it doesn't feel oily, but any yarn that's got maybe spinning oil in it, like Holst and things, if you wash it in dish soap, it really strips off those oils, where like lanolin soaps are a bit more delicate. So I'll be washing this in dish soap, and I will say it already feels softer to the touch than the Porridge colour we did, but I'm excited. And then I think I'll wear this every single day. and feel like I'm living my school life all over again, just without the horrible tie. Otherwise, yeah, I like it. So yeah, this is currently my next thing I think will be off my needles will be this, which I'm again looking forward to. I bought some fixed circulars for this. These are 3.25mm needles, and the gauge is 24 stitches, so it's not like it's a fingering weight, but like, and it's a nice fabric. It's not see-through at all, but it's not like, I think you can get some fingering weight sweaters that go down to like 28 stitches and things, so it's a bit of like a more open gauge fingering weight sweater. And Chargu, which are my preferred choice of needle, don't do shorties at 3.25 with the same cord thickness as the rest of my shorties. So I decided I realised the only time I would use this for sleeves, so I bought a fixed one, which I'm pretty pleased with. So I'm just going to keep going away on that. It's currently my meetings knitting, and I just want it done, like I want people to wear it. And also, the state that I'm currently in is that I've got so much on my needles that I have like a bargain with myself that I can't cast on the next thing until certain things are done. And this is one of them. This has to be done before I can cast on something. So we will get there. Okay, I have 2 more works in progress. I'm sorry it's taking so long, but you're here to watch knitting content, so I shouldn't apologise. This one's in the bag, which I was gifted by a French company called Apollonie. And I love this bag. I feel like I should just share that because it's such a nice bag. And the yarn was also sent to me as part of a collaboration with Explorer Knits and Fibres, who are based over in the US and have amazing colourways. And I'm designing in their, it's called Earthy. Last time I couldn't remember the non-superwash base, it's called Earthy. So this is the Earthy DK in the colourway Linen. And this is my November pattern release. So if anyone cares, I have a pattern planned for September, October, November, December. September is a cardigan, which I shared last time, called Leaf. Put a picture in. October is the Alder, November is this, and December is an Advent pattern. So we're organised. And I will say I already have plans for January and February, but I'm not allowing myself to give any time to that because I do not have the mental space to take on another one. I do have yarn picked out for it though. So this is my stick season sweater. Stick season is a term used in, as far as I'm aware, only in Vermont, but it might be more widely used than that. And it is the time of the year where all the leaves have fallen off the trees but the snow hasn't arrived yet, and so it's just like bare branches everywhere. It is also the title of a song by an artist that I really like called Noah Kahan. I got tickets to see him this morning. Like, I bought tickets this morning to see him in February. I'm seeing him twice now, once in November and once in February, and I'm very excited. And even better, I'll have 2 samples of this pattern, so I will wear them to each gig. So I showed this last time. I swatched like a good knitter in the round, cast on, and then my in the round gauge was miles off, absolutely miles off. So I had to rip the whole thing out and start over. So it does mean the bottom of it's just looking a little bit noodly because I reknit that yarn. But I am further along with this than I realised I was. And I'm realising also now it's going to be a bit difficult to show because of the way that the construction. But let me hold up what I've got and see if it... Okay. There we go. So this is what I have so far. So it's inspired by Gansey, like a modernised Gansey with some elements of it. I read this incredible book, what's it called? The Modern Guide Knitting Ganseys or something. I'll include it down below because I cannot remember what it's called. And that's just this really interesting way of breaking down the different components of it. So like the neck gussets and the stitch patterns and the side seams and like all the little interesting elements. So I spent some time poring over that, decided what parts I wanted and didn't want to include. And that's where we're at. So it's knit from the bottom up. It's got this really nice chunky 2x2 rib, and then the rib continues, which is hard to see I think until it's going to be blocked, but the rib continues up the side in this like faux seam, which I really like. I think this detail is really slick. And then I'm currently working on the back panel, and it is in this amazingly fun textured stitch which kind of looks like pebbles. Oh, it looks really good on camera. And what you also can't really see particularly well, again until it's blocked, is that that stripe under the arm continues up like around the armhole. So it's really going to be, again, like more on the unisex side. I feel like if I'm designing the sweater inspired by a guy and his songs, like I like the idea of it being more menswear focused. And like the brief, way back when I sent the brief to Ali from Explorer Knits, I was like, it's that weekend sweater that you just like grab off the back of the chair on your way out to go camping for the weekend, or like it's your friend or your partner sweater that's like over the back of the chair at the cabin and you're cold in the evening so you grab it. You know what I mean? Like that like worn cozy sweater. I think at some point I might try making one of these in unspun. I don't really love unspun yarn, but for this I think I'll make an exception. And it knits up so quickly. Maybe it's because I've had things like the Alder, which is an all over stitch pattern, but this just feels like it's flying by comparison. So yeah, so that is where we're at. It's yeah, it's kind of hard to show, but it's got this really fun detailing, and it's gonna have some interesting stuff up here. There's gonna be like a cool little seam detail, and then some pretty normal looking sleeves. And what was I gonna say? Oh, I think I'm gonna do two collar options. So like a high collar where it's like up and open, and a folded collar. So I don't know which one I'll do for this, but I guess I can knit them both to the same size, and then I can sew down the one that I want to. But yeah, it's looking like not, I don't know, I feel like it's quite a subtle like garment, and again, similar to, I love bottom up construction and like the freedom it gives you with designing. But it makes for it's a nightmare for taking update pictures. It's so tricky. So yeah, that is where that one's at. And I guess now that I've got the Alder off my needles, and soon when I've got the liner, I've now got like a week to finish the second sleeve of the liner, so I have time. I've been trying to be very disciplined and only finish, or only even, I'm just gonna put my hair up because I'm touching it so much that it's annoying me. I feel like I like didn't allow myself to work on other things because I was like, no, you have to work on the things that are deadline, the due dates. I did take that one to see Oppenheimer, and that's where I did like the entirety of the body. Basically, it's a 3-hour movie, and I must have knit like 15 centimeters or something of the body, which was great. So yeah, so that is where I'm at with that one. I have one final work in progress. I'm gonna stop, take a little drink. Because I stopped to delete footage, I have no idea how long I've been talking for, but that's okay. So the last one is in my least sexy bag, giant organza bag. I showed this before, and then I told myself to stop working on it because it is for December and I had pressing designs. So a couple of, yeah, that's perfect. A couple of things. I'll talk about this first and then move on to that. Okay, so last year I released a charity pattern. I released my Cargill cowl, and it is like a fun little gift style cowl, and raised a little over £5,000 for the Fistula Foundation, and that was amazing. I was really pleased I did that, and I've known this year that I wanted to do a charity pattern, and then I decided to make an Advent pattern, which is also a charity pattern. So it will go on sale probably like mid to late November, and then I think all sales for it through to the end of December will be donated to charity. And I'd also like to match the amount that I raise. I'll get more into that closer to the time. I've got a big goal in mind, so we'll see. But right now, the part which I need to focus on is the knitting part. And so that is where I'm at. So I have got, there will be two options, and I've only really got the first one, which is a cardigan. So there'll be a cardigan, there will also be a shawl, and the shawl will be fingering weight. So the cardigan is DK, the shawl will be fingering weight. I've ordered the yarn for the shawl to make a sample. My plan is to make a sample, and then I have an advent coming from, I have two advents coming. One, I know 100% what it is. It's the Hobbit advent from Scale and Stitch, and I am super excited for it, and I think that one will be the best shawl because it's chronological through the book of all the locations they go to. And I think that'd be amazing. However, I've also ordered a second Advent and I could not tell you what I've ordered. I think it might be 12 minis. I can't remember. All I know is that it is inspired, oh God, I can't ever say this. It's inspired by the 2005 Pride and Prejudice movie. That's all I know. That's the only thing. And I saw it and I checked out so fast. Should I see if I can find it? I saw it and I checked out so fast that like I could not tell you what I've ordered. I don't know how much I spent on it. I don't know what it is. Let's see. Okay, I shouldn't have checked because it was so much more expensive than I thought it was. And I'm now also realising there will definitely be shipping charges. I still don't know what it is. It's just shown as Pride and Prejudice special edition yarn offering. That is how obsessed I am with that movie that I could not tell you. I spent a small fortune on that. That is more expensive I think than my UK Advent. And I don't know what I've got coming. God. The grip that movie has on my life. Okay, anyway, where did we even get to? I decided to design Advents. So my plan is, yes, I've got one coming for the shawl. I'm going to knit a shawl, but I want the pattern, as much as it's an Advent pattern, my plan is to show it in both Advent and non-Advent colourways. So like one where it's like 24 different colours or like a multiple different colours. It's like scrappy, and then one where it's just in like a 2-colour option. So with the cardigan and the shawl will be like, there'll be a more simple version. I ordered yarn from Marina Skua, who I was sitting watching her podcast, and I'd been thinking for weeks, like what yarn will I use, and suddenly I was like, oh. And I actually clicked through because she was talking about her spinning bats, and I don't even spin. Like I just clicked through because I was like, oh, let's see what they look like. And then I suddenly thought, wait, she has yarn. And she has 50-gram skeins, which is perfect because I wanted to use a couple of different colours for the shawl. Anyway, the shawl is not cast on yet, the shawl has not arrived. The cardigan has been on my nails for a while and it has had some work, and by work I mean like 2 stripes in the past month, but fine. This is using an Advent, which I did get last year, which was a SADvent from Nervus Fibre, who are a Scotland or Glasgow based dyer. And these are all the ones that have already had a stripe out of them. And then these are the 2 that I still have to go. And it was actually really easy to do it. I don't know, like I don't knit with a lot of fingering weight yarn, so I was a bit stressed at the thought of like, oh, what am I going to knit with this? But this is perfect. So I have a little scale, little like knitter scale, and I just wind them up by hand into 2 little 10-gram balls. And it's really nice. It's really like therapeutic. So I'm holding it with a strand of Falclana Peruvian Highland wool, which I adore. This is one of my desert island yarns. I just think it's amazing. And yeah, so this is, I'll show that in a second. This is the pattern, or this is the garment so far. And I really love that it's like, it's a bright rainbow, but it doesn't look like, I enjoy colours, but like I'm not really a dopamine dresser. Like I go out the house being like, I want to look kind of cool and chic, but like I don't risk wearing like loads of bright colours. And this to me feels like a fun way to wear a rainbow, which is also not just wearing a rainbow. So this is what it looks like. So we start in here with these like greens and golds, and then we go through. There's that really bright green stripe, and then there's some blues, and then some lilacs and purples, and we're into like this like kind of brownie colour now. And it's this really fun texture, and we have these stripes. So I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to wearing this. I think with a pair of blue jeans and like a white t-shirt, it's gonna look so cool. And yeah, I was so disciplined with my knitting on my other projects, and I really wanted to cast on, but I hadn't touched this in a few months, and so I thought, wait, you know what, like I'm not gonna cast on, but I will like reward my good knitting with an evening of working on this. So I got to like wind up a few more skeins, and there's something so fun about working mini skeins, like see how the colours play out. So that's what I did. So I'm now bang on ready to split for sleeves, and I was thinking, I actually know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a second sample, which I already knew I would do, and the second sample is it'll look like this, so like still striped, but more subtle striping, and it's going to be in black and white, I think. Maybe navy and white, but I think black and white. And it's going to feel, in my head it's going to look a bit like a Chanel blazer. I hear those things come out of my mouth and I think, really? You really think you're going to knit something that's going to look like a Chanel blazer? Yes, I am. So this is my Advent pattern. Oh, I think it's going to be called the Daft, which is a word for like silly. I guess both in, I think in, definitely in Scotland, I think also in England. But I was doing some research into Scottish Christmassy traditions, and apparently the 12 days of Christmas, or the days between Christmas Day and the 6th of January in Scotland are called the Daft Days, or used to be called the Daft Days, because they were filled with lots of like joy and merriment, and I think that's amazing. So I think it's going to be called Daft, or Daft Days, or Dafty. Calling someone a Dafty is like, oh, you're the right Dafty, like you've done something really stupid, you're a bit of an idiot. But I kind of like it, so I've not landed on that one. I think it's really fun. So yeah, we'll get split for sleeves on that one. I've got my maths worked out, so I know what's coming next. But as you can see, I have so much on that my brain is very like split all over the place. Before I move into acquisitions then, I do have some other Advent news, and that is to kick off the Scrappy Advent. Is that what I've called it? Scrappy Advent 2023. So I mentioned this a little bit before, I think, but I don't think I got into it. And I got an email a while ago from a viewer who said, have you thought about doing an Advent swap? I'm happy to be involved, and so a huge thank you to you. But I kind of kept putting it off and like not really getting back to them, and then today I'm officially, we're launching it today. So what is it? Firstly, you can go down to the little like more info below, and you can click there, and there is a form that you can click through and you can sign up. And in that form is all the information about what it is, what the expectations are, and then you can answer some questions. The idea is that an Advent calendar is a lot of fun and really enjoyable, and I think it's a really nice, like, I'm not a religious person, I'm like culturally Christian in that I grew up in a country which is largely Christian. We get Christmas holidays off and we get Easter holidays off, and like by that means, but I'm not a religious person. That being said, opening a little cardboard box with a chocolate every day, or getting to open some yarn every day in the run up to Christmas is for me an absolute joy. And last year I had so much FOMO. I got my SADvent in the January, and I was doing like I had an Advent for this blanket, which I will get back into at some point, but I don't know, opening it every day is so joyful. But obviously hand-dyed Advents are really expensive because they require so much work from the dyer, which is understandable. And I just couldn't bring myself, like, I know some people, like last year I couldn't bring myself to buy one. I was like, no, like it's so much money, you can't justify it. To be honest, I can't justify it this year either, but hey ho. But instead I thought about how can we bring that to more people, and the idea would be to swap an Advent with somebody. So you can sign up to swap leftovers, and the idea being that you might have like leftover balls of yarn, or like maybe you've got like some mini somewhere that you've not used, or you've got like a cone of yarn and you can like wind off some 10 grams of, and the idea is that you will put together a calendar and then send it to somebody else. You can opt in for a couple of things. So firstly, there will be a few options for what to send. You could send 24 10-gram minis, 12 10-gram minis, or 4 full skeins of yarn. This could be like stuff you're destashing, so maybe you've got some skeins that you don't really use that often and you want to swap it. And then you can also decide if you want to send like domestically or internationally. So I think the options will be UK, like your home country, and then there'll be some customs areas, so like you could send within the EU with no customs issues, and then you can opt to ship internationally. Obviously, if you ship internationally, the chances are more likely you'll get a parcel with things that you're less likely to get at home, if that makes sense. So like probably if you swap with somebody in the US, you'll get more like US based yarns. But obviously that's more expensive to ship it, and like as cheap as possible for people who want it to be, that is the option. And then you can sign up, you'll put in a little bit of information, you can, you don't need to put your address, I'll let you organise that with your swap person directly, so like I won't have anyone's addresses. I'll ask you for your email, ask you for like if you've got any projects in mind, colours you like, fibres you like, and then what I will do is work to match people up. I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be like a direct swap or if it'll be like a chain, so like you give to someone who gives to someone who gives to someone who gives to you, or if it'll be a direct swap. I'll work out that when we get to it. And yeah, hopefully it just means that we can share some yarny love and people can get an Advent without it being a super expensive and accessible thing. And maybe you can meet some new knitting friends across the world. And then it's up to you. Like, the bare minimum is send the yarn, but if you want, you could send like some fun stitch markers, or you could send some treats from your country, like some sweets or some chocolate, or you could send some postcards or a handwritten letter, or some, you know, a hand knitted item, or you could send a full skein for the 25th day. Like, there are lots of different options there. So yeah, this is Scrappy Advent 2023, and you can sign up now. The sign-ups are open to the end of August. I'll then spend the first 2 weeks in September matching everyone. I'll let everyone know mid-September who their match is, and you'll have a month then and try and send it off mid-October, so it's arrived with everyone by the time they've got it. And yeah, we'll see. Obviously, I think always with these swaps, like, you're relying on somebody else to make sure they send the thing. So there is an opportunity for disappointment, but hopefully everyone goes in with like a positive mindset. And if you just consider, like, if you're putting together a box or like an Advent and you think, what would I want to get? That is the key for where to send it. So that is now live. You can sign up below. I think I'll only remind people of this episode and next episode, and then it'll be closed. So it's a long window to apply, but yeah, not apply. It's not an application. Everyone who sends a message should hopefully get accepted for it. And yeah, hopefully we can share some yarny love in the festive period. And yeah, and some people, I talked about it yesterday on Instagram, and a few people said, like, I would love to send one, but I don't necessarily need to receive one. Or like, I'd love to receive one, but I don't have any scraps. So there will be options to just sign up to send, or just to sign up for receive. And I might see if I can add something about if people want to send an extra box, which we could either have ready for the people who didn't get one, or yeah, there'll be some more information about that in the form. At this point in time, when I'm filming, I've not made the form yet. It's also on my to-do list before the video goes live, so it'll be in the form. So yeah, you can sign up now, and you can sign up until the end of August, and then you'll find out who your swap buddy is, and you can swap some yarn and make some friends. Okay, I'm going to move on to my acquisitions. I've got 2 bits of yarn to show, and then I'm going to wrap up. So the very first thing, I mentioned that my next pattern release is the Leith cardigan. I think I put a picture in, but if not, here's a photo of it. It is a intarsia striped cardigan. This version I've made so far has got 5 colours, so 1 main colour plus like 4 contrast stripes. You could do it in just 2 colours. I've got a tester who did the whole thing in the same colour, like no striping. And then of course I have the wonderful Kelly, who has tested knit quite a few of my patterns, and every time I think she's outdone herself and she can't make something even better than it is. She delivers, and she has entirely influenced me into buying the yarn for my next cast on for the Leith. I'm going to see if I can take a picture, share a picture of hers. Instead of coloured stripes, she has used boucle and non-boucle. It looks incredible. It looks so good. And I just could not get it out of my mind. Like, I had to. So I've got somewhere over in that corner, I have another sample on my needles that I've not touched this last time. I will get round to it, but not right now, because right now I'm going to cast on the boucle version. So I'm using the exact yarn she used. It is Drops Mohair. It's really fluffy mohair. Drops Mohair, Drops Puna, which is alpaca, and Drops Alpaca boucle. I love mohair and alpaca. I think it makes for such a nice combination. So yeah, it's interesting because the boucle is yeah, it's pretty bang on DK weight. The gauge suggested is 17 stitches and 22 rows, and I think the gauge for the Leith is 20 stitches. So it should definitely be fine, but it feels thin. I've done a little bit of swatching in alpaca before, boucle before, but that's as far as I've gotten. So I'm excited. I had to finish my Lina sample, and this is the thing that's getting cast on as soon as it's done. I think I'm meeting Caroline's Knits this weekend on Sunday, and I'm thinking this would be a good project to have all my needles for chatting and knitting, because it's just back and forth. That's why I'm so excited. I think the piece that she made looks amazing. I wanted a neutral one, and this is like the absolute perfection. So that is getting cast on soon and I cannot wait. And my original plan was to wait until the festival season and then pick up some hand-dyed boucle, because I know there are a lot of dyers doing like a DK weight boucle, but I just can't wait. So if I love it, potentially I'll come back from Round Vic with some more hand-dyed boucle. Okay, and then my last purchase, oh, in this bag, which is not anything to do with what I'm talking about, I did pick up a couple of skeins of this. Knit.co.uk had a summer sale and I was already ordering, so I got some pink, which will become a Tulsa t-shirt in Santa's Carolina. No idea when I'm casting that on. What I do have in here is a yarn that I've never used before. This is Camero's Sneffnug, and I've only heard amazing things, to be perfectly honest, and it is super soft. It's similar to, do you know that meme with Gordon Ramsay where he's like, I'm an idiot sandwich? I feel like an idiot sandwich, but like a really cozy idiot sandwich right now. Oh, it's so soft. It is cotton, alpaca, yeah, 55% cotton, 35% wool. I am translating this from a language I don't speak, but I know that bommel is cotton. Oh yeah, so 55% baby alpaca, 35%, I think it's biological, I think it's like, what's the word? Organic cotton, and 10% merino wool. Yeah. This is the colour Gras beige, which I guess it would be like maybe dark beige or grey beige. And then this is, oh yeah, this is like medium grey. I'm going to say melon gras and gras beige. So grey beige and medium grey. Guesstimates. My fantastic translation skills. This is going to become something new, which is the Gallus scarf by Amy Palco. If you watched our most recent episode, or if you don't know who I'm talking about, Amy Palco is a podcaster who's also based in Edinburgh, and her podcast is The Meaningful Stitch, and she's wonderful. I see her every single week at Knit Night, and a little while ago she told me that she had been working on a design, and I was so excited. And then she asked at the time if I would like to sample knit one, and I said yes, and the yarn, I went back and forward on yarn for so much, and now I am ready to cast it on. So it is a DK weight pattern. It's knit with host, like her original samples are host held double. It's a scarf, so I am just going to cast on. Hope for the best. This is probably slightly thicker, yeah, it's definitely thicker than the original pattern, but I've decided that's okay. And the original is in up to 5 colours. But again, I'm just going to do 2 colours, so mine's going to be, it's like striped almost. There are these like big, I'll put a picture of Amy's sample. There are these like big parallelograms, so you work short rows with this I-cord edging, super cozy, garter stitch, like so fun to knit. And this is my cast on for when this is done, so I have to finish this before I can cast on this. And I'm so excited. So I don't know when I'll get this cast on, maybe this weekend. Maybe it'll be a little weekend treat for myself. I think I'm a little bit short on yarn. I did calculate it, but I didn't calculate it very well, and I'm 30 meters short, which is so stupid. There is a local yarn shop that does stock Camaro Sneffnug, and I think because they're separate, they're far away from each other, I could just use a different colour. But you know what, I'm going to cast on and get started and then make a call once I get going. Because I'm nothing if not like a cheat, and if I can make it go, I think because I'm using a massively different, I'll not be on gauge at all, so I think it's a good chance that I might need, like maybe I'll need more than one extra, or maybe I won't need extra, so I'm just going to cast on. I think if I need one more, I need 1 single ball extra, so I should be able to judge that based on the yardage she's given anyway. So yeah, that's super exciting. I'm so pleased for Amy. It's launching the weekend of SYF, Scottish Yarn Festival. It used to be called the Perth Festival of Yarn, and I keep calling it Perth, and it's no longer called that, it's now called the Scottish Yarn Festival. So Amy has told me she's calling it SYF. I'm going to stick with calling it SYF because that way I won't call it Perth. So it's launching at SYF, and I hope to have this done by then. I feel like it's far enough away that I think that's beginning of September, like a garter stitch shawl or scarf I should have done by then. And then she's having a little launch party, and I will be able to wear mine there. almost our entire knit night is knitting one of these, which is really nice. And everyone's like, oh, what do you think of my colour combos? What do you think of this? And that's been really cool. I've definitely gone for the most boring colours. Like, people are making them in these like 5 fantastic rainbow colours, and I've gone for like this. But I have a black winter coat, and I just think like this, like think of like a cozy little beanie, be this sweater on under my coat, some boots, and then like it's like almost 2 meters this when it's finished, so like wrapped around. Oh, I'm gonna be so cozy. So yeah, that is where I'm at. That is everything. I've done a lot of knitting. I've been knitting a lot. Like, all my evenings have been knitting recently. We also were meant to be away for 2 weekends, and because of the rain, both those weekends got cancelled, so I've just had a lot of knitting time. So it's not really a surprise that I've got so much to show, because all I've done is knit and read for 2 weeks. But I'm not mad about that. I kind of love it. And yeah, that's about all I have to say, to be fair. What's going on in life otherwise? Otherwise, pretty good. I've been really, really tired recently. I got some blood taken today just to make sure that it's not an issue, and I'm just tired because I'm tired and not because of anything else. I used to be like deathly terrified of getting needles, of any form of injection, and I was fine today. So I think at the age of 28 I've cured myself. Maybe it was all the COVID vaccinations, maybe that's what it was, getting so many vaccines that I desensitized myself, but I'm now officially over being scared of needles, which is nice. Like, I don't love it, I don't look forward to it, but I don't panic anymore, which is nice. But honestly, just like, I think the grey weather hasn't helped. It's just, you can't go outside for any length of time without being rained on. So even, and the apps are terrible, like it tells you it's not going to rain. So you plan something and then you go outside and you get rained on within 10 seconds. So that's not been great. I have been reading a lot, so much. I read a fantasy series, like a romance fantasy series called From Blood and Ash, which was recommended to me by Whitney, who also has a podcast. I'm trying to Knitted by Whitney, I think it's just called. And I'd started reading it before and I didn't really get into it, and then I started rereading it again, and I read 5 books in like 9 days. Like, I just finished work, got cozy, opened my Kindle, read till bed, knitted and read till bed. That was all I did. So that was really good. And yeah, this Out on a Limb that I just finished is also really good. And I need to decide what to read next. I've not decided what's going to be next. But yeah, loads of reading. I've got lots of TV watching. The cricket just finished, the Ashes just finished, so that was a lot of watching time as well. And I watched all of The Bear on Disney Plus, which was amazing. I love season 1. I will truly admit to you, shamelessly, that the only reason I started watching it is because I found out that Will Poulter, who is like the guy with the eyebrows, makes a guest appearance in the 2nd season. So I thought, oh, I have to watch the 1st season so I can catch up. And I'm glad I did, because it was really good watching. The episode of he's in is also great, but the rest of it was also worth watching. And this weekend coming, we're going to watch Scotland play France in the rugby, which I'm really looking forward to. Although I've been to see Scotland play rugby twice, this will be the 3rd time, and they get beat every time I go. So I think they'll get beat again. I am tempted to knit myself a hat, because everyone wears hats when they go, but it is summer. But it is going to be 16 degrees, so I don't think I need a hat. But I have blue, like bright blue yarn, and I keep telling myself it would be perfect for wearing to a Scotland game, but I've not finished it yet. Maybe if I go in the winter, I will knit a hat for then. Or maybe I'll knit my blue sweater finally. And that's about it. I've got some really busy weeks coming up. The Fringe Festival starts in Edinburgh this weekend. The Fringe is a comedy festival. It's an everything festival now. It's comedy, theatre, music. It's huge. It takes over the city. I'm really, really lucky that, like, now we live a little bit out of the city. You have to kind of opt in, like you have to go into the centre to get some of the chaos, and where we are is generally not super touristy and pretty quiet. But oh my goodness, it's gonna be a lot. I used to work in hospitality like throughout uni, and so I know just how chaotic it can be in the centre of town, and you have to just kind of like brace yourself to get through it. But hopefully we'll see some good performances. And it's amazing, like you have some like world-class theatre and comedy on your doorstep for 3 weeks, so really we should make the most out of it. And we've got some friends staying. It also, unsurprisingly, because of the festival, all of the accommodation, the hotels and things become wildly expensive, and so we turn into like our own little Airbnb for all of our friends where they just show up and then sleep on an air mattress. The air part of the B&B is the air mattress, and then they leave, and then we put all the laundry on and change all the duvets, and then the next one arrives. So we have that pretty much for all of August. And yeah. Oh, and it's my birthday month, so my birthday is right at the end of the month. I will be doing my first ever pattern sale, big pattern sale, which would be cool. So if there's anything you're thinking of like, oh, I might buy that at one point, it will be cheaper if you wait until the last week of August. Yeah, I think that's everything. Did I have anything else to say? Oh, I definitely forgot something, but I don't know what. If you're interested in either the tester call for the Alder sweater or to sign up for the Scrappy Advent swap, you are more than welcome to do so. Both of the links are down below. And yeah, it's been like 2 and a bit weeks since I last filmed. I'm going to try to film again in 2 weeks. It will depend who is in our house. I feel like I like recording when no one is here, but where I'm currently sitting will become our guest bedroom. So I'll have to do some shuffling if I film again soon, but hopefully I will sometime mid-August. And until then, I'm just going to be knitting, reading, chilling, lifting weights, trying to get outside when it's doable, and that's about it. I hope you have a really good couple of weeks. I hope you've enjoyed spending some time with me today, and I'll see you then. Bye!